I hate to interrupt you, Dermot, but we have certain reason to do so because Manchester United have sacked their manager, ERIK ten Hag. A statement has just appeared on the club's website. It says ERIK was appointed in April 2022 and led the club to 2 domestic trophies, winning the Carabao Cup in 2023 and the FA Cup in 2024. And Manchester United say, "We are grateful to ERIK for everything he has done during his time with us and wish him well for the future, for the future, for the future, for the future."
ERIK ten Hag was dismissed from his position as head coach of Manchester United on the 28th of October 2024. But what really went wrong? What was he able to achieve? Which players improved and became better players under his rule? And will Manchester United be a better team without him? This is the full story of ERIK ten Hag as Manchester United manager. ERIK ten Hag was appointed as head coach of Manchester United on the 21st of April 2022. He will be taking over from Ralf Rangnick at the beginning of the 2022-23 season. Under Ralf Rangnick, Manchester United finished 6th on the league table, making them qualify for Europa League in the next season ERIK ten Hag will take over from, with players like Cristiano Ronaldo leading Manchester United with 18 league goals. So the assignment for ERIK ten Hag in the 2022-23 season was simple: bring United back to the glory days, and that will mean by bringing back silverware to Old Trafford. And Manchester United would trust ERIK ten Hag to do that by letting him spend as much as he'd want in the transfer window, and ERIK ten Hag went for it. His first signing will be Malaysia from Feyenoord for £14.6 million, followed by a free transfer signing for Eriksen from Brentford. He'll then look for defensive options at the club that he coached before, Ajax. Alessandro Martinez will join Manchester United next for £57 million. People then had mixed feelings about the next big signing of Casemiro for £70 million. Yes, the 30-year-old was signed for £70 million. Many would say that it was ERIK ten Hag's first of many mistakes, but looking at Casemiro's profile, he was one of the best CDMs at the moment. And if the idea was to bring silverware now, then ERIK ten Hag was only going for someone who knows how to win. So maybe they had thought that Casemiro was the right man to fit the profile, despite maybe overspending for him. But ERIK ten Hag wasn't done yet. He would go get 22-year-old Anthony from Ajax for £95 million, hoping that he will be the new star of Manchester United as he was at Ajax. Again, people weren't too sure about this signing, but they were only letting ten Hag cook. Ten Hag will then go on to sign the last player in the goalkeeper department, bringing Dubravka from Newcastle on a season loan. He would also play the role of fully promoting Garnacho and Kobe Meno to the first team. And with arrivals, there always has to be departures. James Gardner, Andres Pereira, Eric Bailly, Taib Chong, Paul Pogba, Ivania Matic, Jesse Lingard, Edison Cavani, João Mata would all leave the club, while players like Amad Diallo, Dean Henderson, Trisebe would go on loan. So with players sold and ERIK ten Hag bringing in players that he would like, it was time to see how he would do in his first season as a Manchester United manager. ERIK ten Hag's first season as Manchester United coach would be very good. They would finish 3rd on the league table, even though they were not competing for the title. It was a good sign for good things to come. And they did this without Cristiano Ronaldo, who left the club in November 2022. The first of many players which had a falling out with ERIK ten Hag. ERIK ten Hag would get Verkos as a replacement for Ronaldo in the January transfer window. Coming on loan, he helped them finish in the 3rd position. And Manchester United would also do well in domestic cups. They would start off by winning the Carabao Cup in the final against Newcastle, with Rashford and Casemiro getting the goals. Silverware was back at Old Trafford. They would also try their luck in the Europa League, but they had no chance when they came across Europa giants Sevilla. They would draw the first leg of the quarterfinals 2-2, but they had no chance when they went away to Sevilla. They would lose 3-0, and Man United would be knocked knocked out in the quarterfinals. Sevilla would go on to win the tournament by knocking out Juventus in the semi-finals, then Rome in penalties in the finals. The kings of Europa would never fail. But United still had a lot to play for. The next game they'll play Brighton in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. The match would go all the way to penalties and Manchester would win 7-6, putting them in the finals against their rivals Man City. They had a shot at winning their second silverware, but it just wouldn't happen. ERIK Ten would score the first goal within 1 minute. Bruno Fernandes would level the game, but ERIK Ten had other plans. In the 51st minute, he would score the second goal, and that would be enough to crown Man City champions of the FA Cup. And that would be the first season done and dusted. Although Manchester United suffered embarrassing results during the season, there was hope again at Old Trafford. Finishing third in the Premier League, winning the Carabao Cup and going in the finals of the FA Cup was a sign of better things to come at Manchester United. Although they didn't do well in the Europa League, they would be tested in the Champions League in the following season, putting them head-to-head with the big dogs of Europe. The 2023-24 season was a big season for Manchester United and ERIK ten Hag. ERIK ten Hag will start off the season by signing Mason Mount from rivals Chelsea for £64 million. A good signing at the time, but also a questionable one. Mason Mount enjoyed playing at the number 10 position, but with the captain Bruno Fernandes around, it raised many questions. But the fans were not too worried about that. They were worried about seeing the new number 9 walk through the gates of Manchester United, but they would have to be a little bit more patient on that, as the next player that joined would be Johnny Evans on a free contract from Leicester City. Then Andres Onana came through for £50 million from Inter Milan. Right after, the new number 9 would be announced to Manchester United, Rasmus Hojlund from Atalanta, coming in for £73 million. Another questionable signing from ERIK ten Hag, as Rasmus Hojlund only played 1 season for Atalanta before the big money signing to Manchester. With that much spent on a striker, fans would be expecting him to bang in goals after goals. But ERIK ten Hag wouldn't stop there in the quest to improve his team. He got in a backup goalkeeper, while Amabet and Reguilon would join on a loan. But with players coming in, there has to be players going out. Dean Henderson and Anthony Alanga would leave the club for £17 million. While Fred and Eric Bailly will go to the Turkish league, and Alex Telles would join Cristiano Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League. Players like Van der Beek, Bellestri and Mason Greenwood would go on loan, and Jadon Sancho would go back to PVB on loan after the falling out with ERIK ten Hag, while David De Gea, Phil Jones and Alex Tuanzebe would run out their contracts at United and leave as free agents. So it was now time to see how ERIK ten Hag would do in his second season as Manchester United manager. There was a lot to look forward to. Champions League football was back at Old Trafford. Could they add to that domestic cup that they won the season before? And how well would they do in the league this time around? But second season syndrome would catch up to ERIK ten Hag, as they would get knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League. Finishing bottom, while Bayern Munich would top the group, Copenhagen would finish in second place, while Galatasaray would continue the European run in the Europa League. They would have a little run in the Carabao Cup, but they'll get knocked out to Newcastle 3-0 in the 5th round. They couldn't return the Carabao Cup, but they went all the way to the finals in the FA Cup, coming up against Man City. It would be the same final from the season before, but who would win this time around? The answer would be Manchester United. The same players that he promoted in the first season will be the same players that show up in the finals. Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho. They would both be on the score sheet in that final. Garnacho will score in the 30th minute, while Kobbie Mainoo will score on the 37th minute. Jeremy Doku would get one back in the 87th minute, but it will be too late as Manchester United would win the FA Cup. But it wasn't looking so good in the league table for ERIK ten Hag, as Manchester United would finish in 8th position. Fans wanted ERIK ten Hag out as he was spending a lot of money but no progress. They thought he wouldn't be the right man, but after winning the FA Cup on the last day, the board decided to give him another chance the following season. While not even sacking ERIK ten Hag, Manchester United were still searching for a new manager. But in the 2024-25 season, ERIK ten Hag will back himself as he would sign a new striker, Joshua Zirkzee for 42 million from Bologna. But again, fans would doubt this move, as fans thought that they were just bringing in another striker which wasn't good enough to be the number 9 at Manchester United. This would leave a question mark on Manchester United's recruitment, as they signed Rasmus Holland the season before for £80 million. So after the signing of Rasmus Holland, fans wouldn't back Joshua Zirkzee's side, as he didn't prove himself as an elite striker, but as a striker who had one good season, just like Rasmus Holland. Feel like we've been here before. But ERIK ten Hag would continue spending big money, as he bought in Larry Yoro for £62 million. The wonder kid would seem to be a long-term investment for Manchester United in the defense. But he wouldn't stop there. He would continue improving the defense by bringing in familiar faces that once served him. Matthijs de Ligt and Mazraoui would both join from Bayern Munich. He would invest another £50 million for a CDM called Agate from PSG. But with players coming in, it means players are also going out. And one of the players that would leave would be Scott McTominay, who has served the club since his youth days. He would join Napoli for £30 million, while Greenwood, who also served in the youth academy, would join Marseille for £28 million. Wan-Bissaka, Van der Beek and Pellistri would also leave the club on a permanent fee. Varane would leave the club on a free transfer, while Jadon Sancho would go on a loan. Anthony Martial and Brendan Williams will both leave the club as free agents. Another questionable window for ERIK ten Hag. But deep inside, ERIK ten Hag knew that this was his last shot, but was it worth it spending all this big money? And the answer would be no. Manchester United would start off the season by losing to Man City in the Community Shield 8-7 in penalties. And the struggle would continue. In the Europa League, Manchester United would draw all their first 3 games, throwing to FC Twente, Porto and Fenerbahce. A bad start to ERIK ten Hag in the Europa League and nowhere to hide. They would do well in the Carabao Cup, winning against Barnsley as expected 7-0 in the 3rd round. But it will only take until match day 9 until ERIK ten Hag is sadly fired from Manchester United. He would lose 4 of the first 9 games, win 3 and draw 2, leaving Manchester United in 14th position. ERIK ten Hag's last game would be against West Ham, where they would lose 2-1, and that would be enough to sack ERIK ten Hag, as the Manchester United board had enough. That would bring an end to ERIK ten Hag's era at Manchester United. He'll sadly go down as one of Manchester United's worst managers they have ever had. He won 2 silverwares, but they were overshadowed by the lack of consistency in the league. But many say that ERIK ten Hag never really had a say in the players that came in Manchester United. But what do you think? Do you think ERIK ten Hag was another flop manager? Did he need more time? Did he play a massive role in the player development of Garnacho and Kobe Manu? Will he find a new job soon? Will Manchester United be a better team with a new manager in? Leave a comment on what you think. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. I've been 29. Have a wonderful day and God bless.